Okay, does everybody in a computer that they would like? No problems logging in, all that stuff. Hey, Chad, I didn't say hi to you.
Oh, hey, there was a breeze. I conscripted it. Hi, Chad. What's up?
Not much. Welcome to the May Omaha Linux Users Group meeting.
Woo!
I am your host, Jon Larsen, Systems Engineer at the AIM Institute,
As seen by the paper.
as seen in the Omaha World Herald. Imagine my surprise this morning when I was told, "You're in the newspaper." What?
I wasn't arrested.
There was several pictures that were sent, and apparently that one was chosen. So that's how it happened.
But you look so happy.
Yes. You should see the other one. It's pretty funny. It may actually have it. I'll have to show it to you later. Kevin, how's it going?
Hey, there
We're gonna go around the room and introduce ourselves tonight, because we don't really do that often, and we have some new faces. So yes, so
I can't remember it.
you may not have been here.
It's been a while.
Maybe it's the once a year thing that I remember to do it.
We were over at the other room last time.
Oh.
Well, let's see. We moved into here in August of 2009. So, woohoo! No better time than the present. Okay, Craig, you start. Get it out of the way early, then you'll be happy.
I'm always happy.
I know.
I'm Craig Wolf. I work for Miller Public Schools as a district level network, desktop, touch it all tech. I also own my own consulting business that takes care of small businesses.
Yay.
Yay! Next.
I'm Dave Thacker. I work for Pamida Stores. I'm a Unix engineer, and in my spare time, I dabble with various flavors of Ubuntu.
Did you say Pamida?
Yep.
Did you know Adekoya?
Yes.
Did you know him?
I got to work with him for a very, very short time,
Yeah.
and then we had the infamous downsizing.
Yeah. I work with him now.
He's awesome.
He's a
I
neat
love
guy.
it.
Kevin? This Kevin?
Kevin Snodgrass, mostly unemployed. Gunsmith.
Really? I didn't know that. Have to tell one of my
Collector
coworkers.
of all things firearm.
I'm sorry, Aaron, I missed you. You could
Linux
be last if you want.
Linux user exclusively since 1997.
Woohoo!
Wow.
Now that's saying something.
Aaron Grothy, person.
Okay.
My name's Garrett. I actually work right over here across the street. In
Oh,
the
.com?
MUD.
MUD?
Past
Okay.
that, yeah.
So you didn't have to drive.
No. I just Googled this and found it. So.
You mean
check
just
it
like
out.
today, or?
Yeah.
Wow!
Wow.
Amazing.
Internet, the power we have.
Yeah.
Wait, I thought that's how we got started. Linux. It's the internet.
Hey, you know what? When I went looking years ago for this, it took me 6 months to find OLUG. Not,
Was that Clarkson?
yeah,
Boomer
Yeah.
Clarkson?
Yeah.
Yeah.
like I said, I looked for 6 months.
If you don't know
You're not supposed to
to look
canvas the
for
bars on
Omaha
over there.
Linux Users Group or OLUG, if you don't know to look for them, then
Yeah.
if your Google foo isn't up to snuff, you might not find it.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you usually search for Linux in Omaha, you usually get it.
Yeah. My name is Kevin
today.
Murray. You'll see me as Kevin on the mailing list occasionally.
Why didn't sit down?
I'm unemployed at the moment, looking for jobs. I'm willing to do Windows and Linux jobs, but you can think of me as the sharpest marble. It's my email handle. Because I am the sharpest marble.
Okay.
Aim
Cool.
high. Aim high.
Yeah, that's why I'm the
It's
sharpest.
a man playing a guitar out the window.
My name's David Cannon. I work at PayPal as desktop support,
Cool.
and I was looking for a Linux user group in Lincoln because I actually live there and commute.
Oh.
And I found one, but they haven't been in existence for about
H-Lug?
I think 6 years or something.
Was that the Husker Lug? Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah, we haven't heard anything from them for a long time. There was a Sioux City one too, but I
Haven't heard from
haven't
them
heard from them
in ages.
either.
Yep.
the last post on their webpage was 2004.
Woo.
There's
Wow.
no other people from Lincoln.
It's
That makes me,
Yeah, one was saying it was Dallas.
Chad,
Chad Holman, work for North Carolina.
huh,
cool.
doing what?
Hello.
Everything. Seems like it anyways.
I'm sorry.
I lost it. I'm sorry.
Oh, I see. I see. Okay, we're just going around and doing introductions at the moment. So, his turn now.
Yeah.
Hi, Sam. Hi.
Sam, how's it going?
Okay.
You were at the Chrome thing, right? And at Infotech too. You weren't at Infotech? Okay. Well, I see so many faces, I get mixed up from time to time. So, okay. So a little history of OLUG. We were formed somewhere around '97 by our illustrious president Brian Robertson, who made his 3-year appearance last month at our meeting.
Oh man, I missed
him.
It was an awesome meeting. Watch the video on Ustream.
Is it
All IPv6.
IPv6? I wanted to come to that.
Oh, it was like 2 hours. It was boom, boom, boom the whole time.
Really?
Yeah, because it was just sort of like, wait a minute, you can't. What? So IPv6 is going to be a lot of fun.
Lots of useful information.
Oh, yeah.
Hmm.
Define fun.
There is no ARP in V6.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's
And
all
ICOM
ICMP.
Yes.
You cannot
Must
block
have
ICMP.
it on.
You have to leave it on. Yep.
I can ping scan your network, so your firewalls are going to be on for every single device.
So if you've ever turned off Windows firewalls on your desktop machines, you have to turn them all back on.
That sucks.
It's okay.
Yeah.
We've been turning IPv6 off for years.
See, if you're doing it at the edge, then I think you're going to be fine, because you're going to do the translation at the boundary layer.
Right.
So it's not going to be a big deal, but
And inside, you can still have a private.
sure.
Yeah, because if you're running an IPv4, like a Class A license, then it won't matter. Because you get the translation right at the border.
Mhm.
When it comes in, it's all 10 dot whatever.
But when you get like an address, like when you hand out addresses, it's some insane number. Like, well, you want your address? Okay, here's your, what is it, a /64 that you get? So you have like 180,000 IPs.
What are you going to use that many for?
I don't know, I might get more than 2 phones.
I'm thinking of putting my toaster on the web.
Well, I really think that's what's going to happen. Every device is going
Yeah.
to have some kind of a wireless module in it.
And then Skynet will take over.
Well, that's what.
already happened to Amazon.
Actually, did you see that press release? They said it was not Skynet that caused our problems. They actually said Skynet did not cause our problems, which I thought was a great way to handle certain things. So it was pretty funny.
Oh, that's good.
So let's see. We have archives going back on the mailing list to about 2000. I first found it in about 2001 is when I found it. I think my first meeting was around that time.
It probably wasn't long after you.
Yeah, I don't think you were. You were pretty much right there. So there are 4 officers, 1 officer emeritus. I'm going to say.
One what?
I'm going to say Tim is an officer emeritus.
I'd say so.
It's just because of the chops.
Yes, we had a member who had,
Officer absenteeist.
yeah, he has big chops. Tim
What kind of
O'Brien.
personality to go with.
I follow him on Twitter. It's pretty funny to watch some of his statements. It's pretty
Tim's a
funny.
hoot.
He goes to a lot of record shows, like LPs and stuff. It's pretty interesting. So, I guess we should have said your distro of choice when we went around the room. But, oh well.
Zeus.
Okay. You said Ubuntu, so we already knew
Ubuntu.
that. So I'm doing the Fedora Red Hat thing.
Fedora, CentOS on the server, but maybe but ask me again in a month if I'm
If
still
6
there.
hasn't come out yet, ask you again in a month.
Yeah. I'm looking for some drivers for my wireless card at home, PCI, and I'm just not finding them.
Is it an Atheros or?
No, it's Rawlink.
Oh.
I should also say Red Hat Enterprise
Oh, at work.
at my paying gig. Yeah,
Okay, your day job.
I won't say anything about SCO.
Dun dun dun.
They're about ready to dry up and blow away anyhow.
Didn't they already?
Yep.
As a
About
company,
5 months back.
as a company, yes.
Yeah.
It's all
Their
lawyer
stock
stuff
still
at this point.
trades.
Really?
I thought it was low enough it
They're
got
bankrupt.
delisted.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. Their stock still trades. Look it up.
Hmm.
Wow.
Okay.
The boredom of people with money.
How many Ubuntu? Raise your hand. Fedora, Red Hat. Susie.
Well, actually, yes.
Okay,
I
Bob.
kill for two.
Bob's not here, so Slackware. Okay. Arch. Mint.
Straight up Debian, what's wrong with that?
Debian.
Debian, yes.
I'm getting to there.
The
Thank you for
last
reminding me.
Why
trade-
you go Arch then Debian?
I said Ubuntu first.
Yeah. It's like, why don't you just, there's a
Debian
subline
derivatives?
Ubuntu.
I can't name them all.
Yeah. How many gens is
Yeah,
he
there's-
sold? Don't raise your hand because you're probably still recompiling.
Take that long. And I got a really, really old machine.
How long does LibreOffice take to compile to build?
Oh, I don't
Oh,
compile
man.
that
Oh.
garbage. I got no use for it.
I used to compile X every single time because I wanted the performance of X.
Yeah.
And in 2003, I said, "This is ridiculous. I can't keep doing this. This takes too long."
For everyone's information, the last trade for SCO was on April 29th at 4.5 cents a share.
So nobody's bought it since then. Okay.
But that was Friday.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Optimist.
it's on the pink sheets and they don't always move that.
That's just somebody at Microsoft is just.
The trustee has handed them over to new ownership.
That's true. Of course, the Novell thing finished up too,
Yeah.
Attachmate.
Microsoft now owns patents.
but
I'm
not.
sorry, conglomerate.
Yeah. So instead of having the shadow SCO do it, they'll just do it directly.
Well, but now, if I'm right, if what I was reading was right, Novell, Attachmate, maintained the Unix IP.
what I
That's the
saw.
one thing they did not give up. They maintained that, but most everything else went into that conglomerate.
All of their very, very valuable IP for NetWare is gone.
You know what? The stuff that they built with NetWare is still the basis of a lot of the stuff that you're seeing today.
Oh, I know.
Yeah.
So
Yes, I'm wearing the Microsoft Novell shirt. That's what I got told.
You know, there's a digital equipment guy who would like to explain to you how the internet actually works.
Hey, I worked on Deck Alphas.
An Ultrix, yes.
So did
Vax VMS.
wasn't every time I think of Attachmate, wasn't it the people that made those laptop cables to copy laptops?
I thought they make pens.
Okay. I'm trying to remember that company that, or was that?
Lapland.
That was Lapland.
Lapland.
Okay. All right.
Attachmate's a dummy terminal type.
Then who did
That's what
who
they're-
did AutoCAD? Who wrote AutoCAD?
Autodesk.
Autodesk.
Yes.
All right.
Hey, we're
Oh, I'm
virtualizing
thinking of
that.
Deskmate.
Oh.
That okay. All right. Oh my goodness, I gotta do this now.
All right.
It's gonna be so simple.
Nobody uses Slackware?
Not in the room. You do
A little
really?
bit.
So it
I
not.
got it installed, I just don't do much with it.
Oh, okay. Wasn't floppy installed, was it?
Oh,
Okay.
I don't even have a floppy drive attached to anything.
Okay. How many people have floppy drives still? All right.
Windows XP computer, home, 2 gigahertz Celeron processor.
Mine's in a Win 7 box, but
Yeah.
I think I have probably 400 floppy disks I should probably copy over and get rid of at some point.
Put 'em on
Are
one
they
CD.
3.5 or 5 and 4?
I'll put 'em on a thumb drive.
I would say 60% is 3.5. The other 40 would be 5 1/4.
You could do like a student project, like John's Summer of Disc.
Hey, you can send it to Google.
I have a lot of downloaded door programs from BBSs.
Yeah.
Because I used to run BBSs, so there's like a lot of these discs. And some of these sites that collect, doors and wares and all those game stuff, there's stuff on those sites I've not seen my stuff appear on there. Like there was one called Wizard War that was really pretty cool. I mean, that was so popular on my site, people would set the auto dialer before midnight and just keep dialing it. And the guy who always got in had an Apple IIe 300 baud. And he would tie the whole thing up for 35 minutes playing the game because it would scroll and draw the map. And he always beat everybody because he had time to think while it drawed the map out on the screen. He could do his strategy.
Lost strategy while it was drawn.
Yeah. Because the people would just be like, they do all their moves before 2 in the morning, and then you have to wait till midnight the next day to have all the moves complete.
What
It was
type
a
of
fun
BBS
game.
software was your
World War IV. It was all C code. It was nice because when you bought into it, you got the code and you could modify it. So it's very similar to open source. But they converted it to Linux a number of years
I did
later.
a little bit of work with several of the Spitfire systems.
Oh yeah, it's very similar. Mm-hmm.
Sparky,
Sounds familiar.
Jim Shepard from Gretna,
I think so, yeah.
and Greaseman.
That one does not ring a
Grease
bell.
Mouse.
No.
That sounds
My handle was Danger Mouse.
Dribs, Jack Winslow.
Yep. Of course.
There was a guy down in
Endless Forest.
Forest.
The Kmart BBS. Did you ever hear about that?
I knew that guy.
Really?
Yeah.
Kaz?
Yeah.
Is there a restaurant?
Yes, down that hallway.
my handle is Dread.
It was in the computer department at Kmart at 123rd and
Mhm.
Center,
You could walk into the computer department and say, hey, there's the bulletin board on the shelf.
running on a Commodore 128.
I was
think.
known as Grave Digger.
Did you copyright it? Obviously not.
I was known as Grave Digger before there was such a thing as a monster truck. The first monster truck was created after I was known as a Grave Digger.
Ah, memories.
Oh, yes. Okay.
I should assume.
Was it Grant?
Crap, I don't remember.
Grant. Because that's Dave. You didn't say your name.
No, I haven't been here for a few months either.
We were going around the room saying names.
Oh,
So you're up.
I'm trying to.
That's right. Hard for me to remember everything.
He's quite a deal.
Haha.
I'm finally back in Omaha permanently.
Really?
I was in North Dakota for 3 months.
I saw your car when you pulled in, so I knew you were coming.
I'm glad to
Didn't
be
we
able-
talk about your phone last time you were here? The Android phone stuff? Is that
Your
you were?
presentation, I just talked to you about it.
Hmm?
I just talked to you about it.
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
Not the whole room. I'm just saying that was our last conversation.
Yeah.
Okay. Just trying to remember my
You were trying to
timeline
get
of things.
Android on your iPhone.
It did. It worked. Unfortunately, shortly after that, later in the month, I lost my iPhone.
What was the battery life with Android on it?
Terrible.
12, 13
How's
minutes?
your battery life with the iOS on it?
Well, when I lost my regular phone, I had to use that Play one I was doing with Android to put iOS back on it to use it for work. And the battery meter seems broken on it. So like after 2 days, it still says a full battery, and I know that's wrong. So I'll plug a charger into it, and it says it maybe has like 15% left. So it's on its last legs, that's for sure. It had already been repaired once by somebody. So, oh, I originally did this in 2006. How many people have lost data because of a backup failure? Everybody should say yes.
My
Because we all
backup-
have foolproof methods of backing up our data, right?
Losing the backup media itself.
Okay, now that's harsh.
Always overwrite the backup, except that I just done a reset and it was blank. I should have done a restore when instead I did a backup with nothing in it.
Oh, you switched commands around.
Yep. Oh, pretty much.
That's too bad. We're going to discuss some simple stuff. tar, rsync DD, and Deja Dupe. Deja Dupe was not in my original presentation from 4 years ago because it did not exist. But now I'm using Deja Dupe full-time for all my stuff. So, tar was originally designed for sequential tape drives and devices and for backup purposes.
Stands for tape archive.
Stands for tape archiver. Has been extended to use the F option for files a long time ago. Compression capabilities were added, like Z, which is gzip, compress, and bzip2. You can use pipes with it. You can look at the man page or look at the wiki. And I'm not sure if that link is. I didn't test that link. Because you know how Wikipedia edits things and changes stuff from time to time. It probably still works. It shouldn't be a big deal.
They
Hmm?
should have
Is
a
correct.
reverse lane.
Okay. Of course, how many people have HTTPS everywhere on their Firefox? Does everybody know what that means? It's an EFF plugin to automatically switch everything to HTTPS in the browser if the site supports it through the filtering mechanism.
Google, Facebook,
Right.
Wikipedia.
So Wikipedia will change to, I think it's encrypted Wikimedia.
secure.wikimedia.org.
Okay. Google goes to encrypted.google.com, and it does Facebook and Twitter automatically. It's a great plugin. I highly recommend it.
What was it
Yes.
called?
HTTPS everywhere.
Yep.
Awesome.
It's right on the EFF website. It's great, especially if you go to coffee shops. You don't.
Yes.
It came around the same time that Firesheep showed up. So, because you could steal people's sessions and stuff.
Can't steal mine.
Yep. So, if you wanted to do a simple backup of, say, your home directory, that's pretty much it. You probably want to do it in the temp folder to put your file name .tar.gz. Now, this is the most common that I've seen how people do it. Some people do it tar.gz. Some people you actually just see gz, and when you compress it, it's still a tar file. It's just more of an identifier for you to remember what it is.
I see TGC.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's more of the Windows people think of tar.gz, TGZ, because it's easier.
Yeah.
It's shorter.
Yeah, that's true.
It's all about the keystrokes.
Yeah. I've once said from Simpsons, when he's working at home from the nuclear plant, he's always typing in YES, YES, and then he finds out he only has to type Y, and he says, "I've tripled my productivity!" It's a great scene. Alternate, using bzip2. Got a few more things in here. P, don't strip the leading slash from the paths. Handy if you're doing the whole file system and you want it to go back exactly where it was at.
Yep.
Preserve for your file permissions. It's rather interesting. You know, bzip2 adds so much more overhead to a system versus gzip. I was doing backups on a machine that was a contact management system. And I figured I want to save a lot of space because my backups are coming out as like 200 gig tar GZs. So I said, I'll do bzip2, and I'll save 30 meg, on every one of my backup transactions. But it brought the system to a crawl when everybody was logged in. Because, there's 50 people trying to use the system. And when that sucker kicked off, it was like, my browser's frozen. What do I do? Well, I'll change my backup script back. That's what I'll do. And that was back when we were backing up every hour. I was backing the thing up every hour. And it was just
Do you
like,
have crashes all the time?
no, that was originally how somebody had set the backup up, and I inherited it. And after a while, I'm like, what? I don't need all this. So it's four times a day now, so that's no big deal.
That's still part of it.
Well, after 30 days, I truncate it to just one copy. Somebody says something that's happened between 2 and 6, I can kind of see it. I know it's in the later version, but if they deleted something between those hours, then I want to kind of know what they may have deleted out of the database. Typically, though, for that contact management system, when somebody deletes something, it's only flagged as deleted.
Right.
It's not actually deleted.
It doesn't actually get purged.
Right. In
by
fact,
the
I don't
system
even
first.
run the purge process.
Okay.
So I just leave it as it is. So,
Should do that at least occasionally for stuff that's
well,
more than 6 months
I
old.
take that back. We did have something that we had to run the purge on. There was a tracking table. And we noticed when people would log in, it would update all the tracking tables. Like, hey, this person just logged in. And it took longer and longer and longer to log in. And the job to purge that was not running. So we had to delete enough records for that job to run, and that took about 4 hours. We said, delete everything older than 30 days. And that was about 4 or 5 hours. There was a couple million records. So that was fun. Always nice to learn. Ran it after hours so people wouldn't have the problem. Now, I haven't messed with tape drives for probably, oh gosh, quite some time.
I still got one.
Oh yeah?
Tape
I just inherited a nice tape library that I'm going to try to get running. It's fiber attached. But I need a fiber card. That's the only thing I'm missing.
TO2?
I want to talk to
Three?
Jay about that.
3.
I think he still has a few left over.
What's that?
Swaghammer? He might have
Oh,
a few left
yeah,
over.
so I can't really have a couple.
Okay.
Because he had lots of that stuff all over.
I have some swag here for swag. My wife keeps looking at it.
So this was a script I actually used in production at my previous job. And I wanted to back up everything except proc and print out the totals at the end. And ST0 is SCSI tape 0. There is, what was the other one? I'm trying to remember the other tape device for a non-rewinding tape device. Is that? It's not SR0 because that's the new recordable
Yeah.
CD-ROMs.
SD
You know, I thought it might have been like NR0 or something like that, rewindable. But your blocking factor is important as to how much data you can fit in the tape medium when you're writing to it. Like if you have, what is it, too big of a block, Dave? I'm trying to remember the last time I did this. If the factor is too big, then you have wasted space between the blocks on the tape.
I think that's it.
Yeah, because if the data you're putting in the block doesn't fit in the block, you just got so much wasted space. Mainframe guy had to explain that to me, so that's how I know about blocking factor. I'm putting a label on the file with the date. There's my date command, and that just runs. The reverse of this is you just generally you pull a list of files off the tape drive because you can have multiple tapes. You do a list, and you get a list of all the files, and you say, okay, this is on this tape. I'll pull it off. Now, I was using a DAT tape, and it would be someone would come to me and say, oh, we deleted the files, and the customer didn't download them, and we need to restore these files. And I would say, come back in about 6 hours, and I'll have your files. Because that's how long it would take to pull the stuff off the tapes. It was just a lot of fun. Because the file stayed out for the customer for 3 weeks. After 3 weeks, the data's considered old because the phone numbers and the do not calls may have changed.
Yeah.
So Oh, there's the restore. And you can kind of specify where there's the file that you're going to restore from that device. X is your extract. J or F for your BZ or your GZ. Big Z for the compress. How many people actually have used compress? I don't think a lot of people have.
Not for a long time.
Because the algorithm is really pretty
27
old.
years ago, yeah.
Yeah. Because that used to be the de facto standard. You see all these uppercase Z's and you go, what the heck is that?
Certain versions of old operating systems, you don't.
Yeah, that's what
You don't have much choice.
Well, there's some,
20 years ago on Unix systems, that's what we used, yeah.
Yeah.
there's also some patent issues with it for a while there too. That's why GZIP really took off.
Is that similar to the LZW thing? Is that what?
That'd be really good.
Okay.
But they had some of the problems with that was, I mean, for a while there, GZIP wouldn't compress to compress format, but it uncompressed.
Oh.
Because there's some requirements about that, but eventually people just started using just the GZIP stuff.
Hmm.
All the way.
Force them to do it.
GZIP is a lot better than compress.
rsync. It's a computer program which synchronizes files and directories from one location to another. Mirroring takes place with only one transmission in each direction, and you can do it over an SSH tunnel. rsync transmits the changes between the source and the target file. So you're not transferring the whole file, right? I use this to great effect every single day with this wonderful script at the top.
And you're going to tell people the most important thing about rsync, the single most important thing?
Go ahead. I
Always use -n, and directories don't mean what you think they mean when you try and put a trailing slash at the end.
see that's a new one to me.
No, if you put a trailing slash at the end, it can either mean the directory or the contents of the subdirectory. So that people always get that backwards.
Oh, okay.
I always use -n to make sure I get it right.
Okay. Because usually when I'm thinking N, that's out to the console.
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
N will tell you what it would do. It does its dry run.
Oh, all right.
Yeah.
Okay. Good point. Because I haven't tested it. So, looking at my statement up here, I'm setting a bandwidth limit of 100 because I don't want to overtax the connection I'm using. And I'm going to use SSH as my transport layer with a special port. I should have changed that port. Then I'm going to delete anything in the target, and I want to see the progress and the statistics. Archive verbose, and I'm trying to remember what H was. Hash?
Was it hash?
I thought that was a Red Hat RPM thing. Quick.
Oh.
Someone.
Numbers in a human
Yeah,
readable
rsync.
format.
Hmm? Human readable format. That's right. Okay. So, what this statement is at the top says, log into this machine, go to the music folder, and sync anything new to this local drive. So any new music gets transmitted over from one drive to another. That's that top script. This is my offsite backup scheme for my music.
Nice.
So
Whoever wrote the man page for rsync needs to be swept upside the
it has a lot of stuff in it.
head. They didn't sort the switches alphabetically.
That's it's deprecated. The whole man page is a time before they thought of alphabetation. They probably have it by.
We've been sorting the switches and man pages since the 70s.
Actually, go back and tell him. I'd say who the author is.
Contact him. His email should be in
Or
there.
at the end.
So
Andrew Chidrell. Somebody.
I have music purchased from Amazon. I don't want to lose it.
Hey, but through them you could re-download it.
Yes. Well, I'll tell you about that in a second. So I'm so paranoid, right?
Yeah.
That's my home machine to another machine remotely.
Right.
I also have a form of it at home that copies it from one drive to another across the house and copies it to my Pogo Plug drive. So I've essentially got 4 copies of stuff that I've bought.
It's not too bad. How many copies do you have of the stuff you didn't buy? You just pirated it.
4 copies of everything in my folder. So, have a copy on me. I have a copy at work. I have a copy, 2 copies at home.
Have you checked with the RIAA to see if that's appropriate?
That's fair use.
That's
You did
fair
got a
use.
sticker. Yeah, that's fair use.
Oh yes, I forgot. It's on my laptop. That's my approval stamp. So, I have a very similar one to my photos, but I haven't offloaded the photos outside of my house. Right now, that folder is 90 gig. And I have 20 that I have yet to sort. Now, my sorting involves making sure everything's in the proper folder by group and then by album, using Music Brains to correct all the tags, and inserting the album art, and that's why I haven't gotten to that last 20 gig. It's the leftovers, the single song stuff that I've had for like 12 years.
Yeah.
Back when MP3s were new.
I've got around probably 15 to 20 gig sitting there that I probably won't ever have a chance to go through.
Yeah. So.
Track 01, track 02,
Yeah, before the file names were actually correct to the actual
track
song.
02, number 2,
Puddle tag.
That may not even have ID3 tags in them.
puddle tag.
Puddle tag? I haven't heard of that one. How does that one work? We'll talk about it.
Maybe I'll bring that in August.
Oh, okay.
What is it?
It's a taggy.
So SSH is your friend for your rsyncs. Back up your stuff, even if it's across the room. Back it up to your mom's house, to a friend's house.
Yep.
I'm talking with my brother in Colorado to try to exchange machines so that we're syncing across. His PowerBook died last December. He lost about 400 pictures that he took. He's a really good photographer, so he'll never get those back. They were at Disney World or Disneyland a few years ago, and they don't necessarily kick you out. And they were there at like 1:30 in the morning taking pictures of everything. All the lights are still on. There's a little bit of rain that let some water on the ground. It was really pretty cool.
Did he do any forensics on the drive to try and save them?
I did the forensics on the drive. At that point, this was the second time it did that on his machine. That Mac had been back to Apple 4 or 5 times.
Wow.
It was not the same machine that he bought. The logic board had been replaced. He's had 2 keyboards. The only thing that he hasn't had changed out was the screen.
Trouble brewing.
Wow.
And
when
now,
it died this time, it was the hard drive that it took out?
yeah, this was the second drive, where it kernel panicked on him, and then it never booted again.
Yeah.
So
And you could never pull anything off of it?
I tried so hard. I pulled it out. I tried to mount it up. It just was.
You put it in the freezer.
Yep, I put it in the freezer for 2 days. Did not get anything off of it.
When it starts clicking,
Yeah.
the chances get ugly slim.
That
Yeah.
generally means that the read-write heads are stuck and they can't move.
Mm-hmm. So,
Which judicious use of a hammer on the side might fix it.
but he's getting ready to order the parts for his new machine. So he's building a Hackintosh. It'll be pretty cool. Oh, DD.
DD's
What
got a
can't
switch.
it do?
DD's got a switch for pulling stuff off of a dead drive if the drive actually is spinning.
Mm-hmm.
I forget what it exactly is, but basically ignore errors.
Yeah. Then there's DD Rescue.
Yeah, well, that just
Is that a
uses DD
distro or is that like just a
to
command?
set the right
It's a
switches.
command.
Okay.
There might be a distro with it too.
Probably on DSL.
Yeah, there's probably a bootable ISO for it, just like
Yeah.
MemTest.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think I downloaded at one point DD Rescue. It was just a CD, a little ISO.
Yeah, but you can get the DD Rescue command also.
Mhm.
Goes
I
through the-
can't think of how many times I've had to use DD to fix things. I've even used it to say, hey, what kind of file is on this tape? Give me the first 512 bytes. Oh, it's this file.
They use the file command to look at the.
Yeah, So you can do a whole hard drive like this if you want. You throw an external hard drive in USB. Now it'll take forever. But has anybody got USB 3 or SATA 3?
My new my Drogo OS have SATA 3 in them.
What's that?
I think a lot of
They're starting to come.
Yeah.
We've got some upstairs, but I haven't got I finally got a USB 3 hard drive, so I haven't tested it yet because I want to see what the throughput is for a backup operation or a DD copy. SATA 3 I'm kind of interested in too, just because of the 6 gigabit per second.
I read Adam posted that article about SSDs dying horrible deaths quickly, and I was reading about the throughput. And after seeing that, I started reading about the throughput on the SATA 3. It's like,
I ran into a friend of mine at the Google Student Kickoff earlier this year for the Android stuff, and he's got people who are doing like SQL setups where their log file is on SSD, and they said it's just screams.
Well, my boot time went from over 3 minutes down to 42 seconds, 32 seconds.
Which machine?
My desktop.
Oh, you put an SSD in your desktop?
And that's not one of the faster ones.
Oh, because I got one and I haven't even used it.
Well, it took my system crashing, the OS crashing when I was only home for 12 hours in between trips.
Ooh.
I reinstalled my OS 5 times in 16 hours because it'd come up, back up, start to work, reboot, dead. Move cables around, redo a few things, reinstall.
Check the smart information at all, or motherboard? Okay.
Yeah.
The importance of backups, right there.
Backups.
I haven't used DD probably for, probably 3 weeks. I thought it was going to be 3 months, but I guess I'm trying to remember. I know I used it recently. Oh,
DD at
we
least
were doing
a couple times
setups.
a month.
We were doing setups. No, I know what it was.
You sure?
Yeah. I was working on the Lair computer,
Oh,
that boot problem.
Yeah.
So I was DDing the boot sector over. That's what it was.
Just make sure
You're a
if
better man
if you
than
do
I am.
this, make sure you get HDA, the input and the output correct.
Yeah.
Don't reverse it and don't reference
Yeah.
itself.
Yes.
Yeah.
Backup A to A.
And
I'm covered.
when you're doing hard drives like that, it is useful if they have similar geometries.
Yeah, I notice I'm doing the whole drive. I'm not doing partitions. So you can kind of fix the geometry afterwards with like a gparted or something like that. But I mean, if it's 40 to 40, I think you're going to be fine.
Oh, yeah. That's why I mean,
So-
similar geometries. They don't
Yep.
have to be identical.
DD also comes in handy for minor surgery on really obnoxious files. I had some
That's a good point. Yeah.
stuff I was playing with this week that was reporting their controlled substance reports that we have to send to various state agencies, and one of them was rejecting when we loaded it. And another guy and I, well, it was actually Tom and I, put our heads together, and Tom said, looks like you have an extra byte. But since the line was like 10,000 characters long, EI wasn't really
A viable.
a viable option, so he read it in, read the whole file, and then put out the first
Oh,
10,000,
right,
put
by
out
the-
the first
yeah.
9,999 bytes.
File length -1.
Yeah, file length -1. So
Hmm.
I hadn't
I could-
played
I
with.
could
I hadn't,
write
I hadn't
that- I
done
could
that
write
for a
that C
while.
code in about
Brought back
15
some
minutes.
memories, and it was pretty nifty.
That's cool. Okay, this is the more of the newcomer onto the game, Deja Dupe. What I mean is it's dirt simple as dirt simple. There's only a few screens you configure, but it supports Amazon S3 as a storage medium. It's in Ubuntu and Fedora. You can do scheduling. You can do all off-site with it. So, for instance, my laptop, I tell it to update once a week. If I miss it, it'll keep asking me. So I bring it in, I set it down at home, I plug it in, and it goes, oh, time to back up, and it just goes. It asks me for one password for my remote machine, and it backs everything up. It does it with diff files, and it'll also do like after a month, make a whole new backup.
Does it have support for SSH tunnels?
We'll look at the config screen in a second. I'm just going to blow through these, then I'll pull it up. But it does support encryption. You can do AES encryption on it with your own passphrase so that nobody could read it except you. There's my location. There's a little wizard that you can run. So you can set your exception files, so like temp and trash. So that's your that's a temp folder in your own home directory. And then how often you want to do it. So let's switch over and take a look at it. My machine wake up here. Back up. So here's where it's asking you. Here's your options. Location, connect to server. So anything you can get at with Nautilus, you can get to it. So if you've got a saved bookmark location, which could be SFTP or any of the other methods, you can get at it. Samba, so on and so forth. Now I don't have, see here's the regular connection stuff. I don't have an S3 account, but I'm wondering what it'll do if I... So by default, it's going to say home folder and trash. And it's just going to say back up. I mean, that's pretty much it. My voice is my password. And then it asks you for your Amazon S3 stuff. So you can just say, I want to sign up for an account. Yeah, you know what movie that's from. Sneakers. So here you go. Sign up for the storage.
But are they still having problems with the...
That was EC2. That was not S3. The elastic block store. Yeah. And they had actually, I need to read it, but they had a really good write-up about what happened. They were doing a transition, and part of that transition was move to a different network segment, and they switched it to the wrong router. So it was at the low bandwidth router. And they went, oh crap, and they switched it back, but it was long enough for the machines to start going, what? And
all the storage started trying to find a new home.
Yes.
Because it couldn't connect.
Now, those people who had originally designed their EC2 instances with failover and replication did not have a problem. Because they built that into their design when they did it. The people who didn't are the ones who lost their sites for a while. Like, what was it? Reddit? Quora. What's that? Foursquare, yeah. So I'm sure that they've gone through and changed how they did stuff. Now, I think Netflix also was on there, and they didn't have a problem.
Because they designed their network to be redundant.
Yes. Did you hear about their little script? They have a script that goes around and randomly turns off services and things.
Chaos Monkey.
The Chaos Monkey script. It goes around and just turns stuff off just for resiliency, because the machines are supposed to just bring stuff back up. It's pretty great. Do a search for Chaos Monkey.
It randomly turns stuff off.
How
So they-
Netflix uses random failure to ensure success.
Oh, is that Netflix? That was
Yeah.
Amazon.
No,
Oh.
That's fantastic.
No, that's not.
And this is their actual blog article. It's a really good...
go read.
Co-tendency is hard. The best way to avoid failure is to fail constantly. So I recommend reading through this just from a service standpoint. That's on my read list. I still haven't done it yet.
Chaos Monkey.
So
Dorothy, you're not crazy.
Let me show you. I put my backups in a folder called Lifeboat.
I like that.
No humor there.
So those are all my boxes that all have backups. Like, there's my Toshiba, my satellite, there's my desktop, and there's my netbook. And there's my really old Palm E2. So let's go to the Toshiba here. We'll do it by T. And there's all the duplicity folders. April 30th was the last backup. So here's all the diffs. 181, 180, 179. So there are lots and lots and lots of files in there. I reset my backup back on the 5th. So let's look at my desktop.
It's the same one.
Working.
I may have to check my settings. I don't think I have it set to cruft to get rid of old backups. What do you think?
I'm thinking there's a cron job in your future.
Yep. All right, I control C'd it. So, yeah, it's yeah.
Before Christmas.
Is that in?
I didn't do the T on it that time. There. Is that better?
That's better.
Okay. So if I say,
Now those are all.
how many files are in there? Oh, 12,000.
Might be time.
I think you might need to run it.
Yeah, I probably need to clean some of that out. But you know, I've got so much disk space available on that. I'm only using half that drive. 51%. Right there.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
1 terabyte.
Hey, how's it going? I like the beard.
Wow.
Now it's your turn to stand up and say you are.
Well, most guys do that in the fall when it's starting to get cold and they get here.
So, just to instill, always back up your stuff.
Or else.
Deja Dupe is a nice little tool if you're just using desktop Linux, just to do small stuff. I mean, I'm trying to remember what I was using. I was using FW backups before, which was okay, but it always produced like, okay, I've got 250 gig files, and this one's this week and this one's last week. This gives me a bit more of a diffing and a history of information better than those. So now there are a few other programs that I've not tried before that are similar to Time Machine on the Mac. I think there's one, On the Fly is one of them. I've not looked at these. Oh, I should switch back to my presentation here. Got to give my shout out here on the next screen. So Bacula and Amanda are a couple of nice big backup solutions. Amanda and Bacula have both been around for quite some time.
We recently just put Bacula in at Amida to start covering certain things that we didn't want to license under Tivoli.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's an economy thing.
Sure. And you got tape pooling, or media
Oh, yeah.
pooling, I should say. And
Tape pooling and disk pooling, and Greg does a great job for backup guy. So.
woohoo!
How big is your total storage that you got to back up?
I'm not sure. We've got a fully populated 4,800 and a couple of gig.
Is that an IBM?
Yeah,
The
DS4800.
DS4800.
And that thing's a couple of terabytes at least. And then we've got some net apps too.
Hmm.
And I'm not sure how capacity is. So, it's a lot.
Now, did you lose anything when you had the fire?
At the house?
Yeah.
No, because there wasn't, well, okay, the only thing that came close was my stepdaughter had you've seen the Dell laptop.
Yeah, the laptop
Right. I
that
did
ran
not
for a
lose-
long time.
Yeah, it ran for a long time, and it's still actually usable. I've never replaced anything in it. The only thing we lost was my daughter had an older Pentium 3
Mm.
that she just used for internet stuff, and that kind of went down the drain. Mostly because of the power supply. It was running and the power supply choked on the smoke. So,
Mm. So you were close.
yes,
So you
I was
kind of
close.
lucked out.
Yeah.
So disasters can happen anywhere.
Yep.
Imagine all the people with the tsunami.
Well,
How much data losses in that?
you know, it can be something as simple as you know, you talk about your music
Or
backup.
Tuscaloosa with that.
Mhm, the tornadoes.
Which we're a lot more likely to get than the tsunami.
Yes.
I had a external enclosure IDE drive that had a whole bunch of music on it that was backed up somewhere else. Fortunately,
Mhm.
well, I'll say 90% of it was backed up somewhere else, and the cat caught the cord, and the thing tumbled off my desk, hit the ground, and it was, you know,
While spinning,
while it was on, and that was it.
bad news.
Hmm.
Like
I had somebody who brought me a 2 terabyte about 2 months ago that did that.
Mhm.
Can you help me? I can't get it to mount. It says format. Ka-chur, ka-chur, ka-chur. What happened? It fell off the table. Oh.
How important is your data? Really, really important.
Well,
I think
there was
you
another
check
copy of it, another external drive.
Mhm.
But I'm thinking, you know, I've got all these pictures that are not digital. I mean, they're paper pictures. Is there anybody in town that you can just take a bulk set of pictures to and have them
My
scan
mom
them in?
did that a long time ago, and I don't remember where she took them, but
See,
I
wait-
don't live in a big city. so-
I don't know if these people do pictures. I can find out where my wife took her Betamax
Yeah,
videos.
there's a new firm that started up that does that too.
You can just run that through a pop-page card or something like
You
that.
have negatives?
I didn't want to.
Partial negatives. Some of them have negatives, some of them don't. I mean, we're talking about any pictures that I've ever had
Her videos.
up until probably 2005 when I stopped taking film photography.
Shoebox full.
It's a large comic book box full of pictures. Now there are firms on the net that you send your photos to and they digitize them for you. I'm kind of nervous about sending a whole box of stuff
Yeah.
somewhere.
Yeah.
Scanners.
Yeah, we recently went through and scanned about 5,000 color slides that my grandmother owns.
My dad's been doing that.
That just takes forever.
My dad's been doing that with stuff he has, you know, back to the late 50s. When he actually had slide cartridges, like little square cubes.
Some of these pictures that my mom sent in were from the 1800s.
Mhm.
These are the family pictures since back when taking pictures was new and fancy and the hot thing for people from the day.
I have a friend, a coworker, who brought in a couple of his VHS tapes, and I've been trying to configure a Linux box and a Hapaj card to read it in, because they are South Pole videos when he was in Antarctica.
What's
And,
the problem doing that? Should be
I can't get the card to give me a clear picture. It has noise in it. There's weird little dots.
You've got-
It's not interference dots. It's just weird black dots.
How do you get, I mean, this is a different topic probably, but how do you get around the macro vision protection?
These
For
commercial
For VHS,
Yeah. Is there something built
There
in?
can't be anything in VHS.
Yeah.
It's pure analog.
yeah, and
No, there's-
well,
there was
Macro
some
vi-
macro vision.
macro
there
vision
was
makes
some
it-
on VHS tapes,
Really?
but these were home.
Yeah, home.
Yeah,
home
ones,
movies.
I don't think you'd have to worry about.
SVHS there was, but not straight VHS.
Yeah, there was.
Oh.
But the player I'm using is a DVD/VHS player. So,
I'm
Think
worried
so?
about some of my
Okay.
tapes have
Have
been
you tried a
stored for so
different
long.
player?
not yet. I'm bringing
I've
another
got
one from
two.
home.
I've got two. We could try one.
I have one spare.
I've got a combo unit.
These are straight up VCRs.
I've
Those are
pretty
JVC.
much I've pretty much converted all of the videos that I want for my own stuff. Let's go back in time. There's going to be, bless you.
Lancers hockey.
So you're converting VHS to DVD?
Look like little kids.
Oh, ha ha ha. Hang on. It is not a publicly viewable video.
Uh-oh.
Oh, don't worry, it's not that bad.
Wow. We just went someplace.
Someplace no OLUG meeting has gone before.
I thought that's what Dave was talking about when he was talking about his wife's Betamax tapes.
Boy, there's a lot in here more than I thought. Oh, there we go. Touch and go landings at Office Air Force Base in 1990.
Wow.
Yeah, I read this in with my card at home on my myth box. So there'll be a little bit of a noise. But yeah,
Ooh, it's buff.
this was back when you could get this close to the Air Force Base.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Because I'm at the other side of the fence.
Yeah, right
Not unless you got one of those fancy ID cards. Even then, I don't
Is this
think
about
they'll
where
let my
that
card.
is awesome.
What's that?
That's a railroad track right there.
Yeah.
Did I show this once before?
Oh, I
No, when you bike down there, you can go pretty.
Yes.
The planes are like right above your head.
Yes.
On Cape Heart Road, they have a sign saying, "Do not be alarmed by loud jet engine noise." I was driving down one night about 2 in the morning after getting off work, and one of these came over the top of the head, and I almost drove off the road. I just jerked the wheel so hard.
Is that, I forget what they're called, the 747s that they...
E4B.
E4Bs, yeah.
So, this is going to be called... I should probably just make this public because it's kind of funny and dangerous at the same time.
Yeah.
There was, Kevin, there was one night when I was still up working at the base where there was a buff getting ready to take off. It was about just getting to be dusk. And he was sitting at the end where the drop-off is.
Where's the 52?
Towards Cape Heart.
Yeah, the northeast.
Okay.
Northwestern.
Some guy was riding his bike around the bottom loop there. As the buff hit it,
There will be language in this video. Just want to say, parental advisory.
Okay.
He's not landing.
That must be before your voice got lower.
Jesus.
oh jeez!
Move! Back when there was still a railroad track that went right by there. Coal train.
Yep. That was my brush with death. On videotape.
You just walk over at the train, you're like, oh crap.
Well, the only way we could tell, I mean, the plane was going overhead. You couldn't hear anything
Yeah.
until you heard the tracks humming.
Oh.
And that's when we figured it out. The tracks were humming, and my friend yelled, and we jumped off the tracks. So, yeah, that was...
Wow.
Yeah.
One doesn't consider the conflicting noises when
I-
it's doing certain things.
I've played this so many times, the tape's going bad, but I had to get it off the tape. So
Well, yeah,
enough
that's-
of me. Okay, open discussion. Who wants to talk about something else? Or is that it for tonight? What is it?
Dave Factor, I
7:38.
got your hot page card.
You do? Okay.
PBR 350.
Ooh, a 350.
350.
I got
the
a better
350 might end up with me, and then she could have my 150.
I'm looking for one too, to copy some kids' VHS tapes.
How much?
I've got 2 brand new
I didn't bring them with
cards.
me. Should've
Never
posted
reused.
something.
I'll
Should
send it in my basement.
email.
have put something on the
I'll have to
wall.
find out what they-
I didn't even think about it until I walked in here
Docks
today.
and box
But
and
they're
they're
analog.
controlling the whole
Yeah,
world.
I don't need any of these
Okay.
stuff.
I just got a brand new ATSC tuner, and it looks great. What is it? The News Hour. I'm recording the News Hour at PBS. It's amazing.
Now this lets you.
Well, I mean,
pull
Cox
stuff
always
up.
compressed everything, so
Yeah.
you couldn't see all the detail.
So you you don't have to use the Cox tuner anymore.
I don't. Well, I don't have cable anymore.
Oh, okay.
I got
Yeah,
rid
you
of.
can
I
pull
got
it.
rid of cable TV.
You
Okay.
can pull PBS off of an antenna.
That's what I'm doing.
Okay.
I bought this antenna from Target. It's like this 3-panel GE, $40 rated high antenna, best digital, whatever. Didn't work worth squat. I couldn't get anything off of it. It was even a plug-in one.
I wish I could remember the model of the one I got, but it is top of the line.
Well, I didn't buy. I had this antenna lying around. It's a single dipole about this long. All I did was shoved it into the rafters in my utility room, and it picks up everything.
Well,
and I
where
thought
we
about.
live, we don't have any interference up there. We should
Oh, I
pick
know.
up all
The
the
only
gas
thing that I'm
stations.
missing is Council Bluffs. That's the only one I want to get.
Who broadcasts out of Council Bluffs?
Iowa Public Television,
Oh,
IPTV,
KHIN.
I
KBN.
get that.
I,
got
I'm
my
down
antennas-
farther than you. I'm down in that valley, so I don't get as good a reception.
Yeah, if they don't have a
Roughly.
really strong transmitter. Yeah.
Right.
I got
Means
mine
it-
sitting on
I'm
top of
pretty
my
high.
refrigerator.
You can
It's not
probably
even
hit
in
it
the
up there.
place.
Where you're
Because
at.
I'm on that hill up north of where you used to work.
Mm-hmm.
Well, if it wasn't for live sports, that's even beginning to.
See, that's the only thing that keeps people on cable is live sports. There's no.
Mythbusters.
Well, Mythbusters. Okay. See, I'm going through F1 withdrawal. I haven't watched anything. I downloaded one
got
race, right? I did one bad thing, and I downloaded one race. It was all in Finnish.
No.
I've got them. They're standard def, but I've got them.
Yeah. Oh, you're recording them?
Sure.
Okay.
I recorded all of them.
Mythbox?
Well, I don't use MythTV, but yeah.
Oh. Okay.
I don't need all that garbage they've thrown into that system.
You only
I've got
have
them
to
turned
install
into
what you
a
need. I don't have everything installed for
I
Myth.
do it all with just a little shell script.
Oh. Cat.
Cat slash
Dev
dev
video
slash
zero.
video zero.
Okay. Then you get the straight MPEG stream off the.
Yeah, why not?
All right.
It's way simpler that way. Don't get any of the
True.
crap that you got to
VLC plays it.
go through and what's that?
VLC plays it.
M player.
No, my primary is my Roku box, and I have. It was great because Amazon announced that if you were an Amazon Prime member, you get all this video stuff for free. So you get all this streaming shows. So it's like when they first came out with it, it was all PBS and BBC. So in other words, I got Nova and a whole bunch of Doctor Who Classic. So I've been kind of going through the old to the new
That'll
through there.
make drug reports after.
and Crunchyroll
Really?
and Hulu Plus. Although I'm not using Hulu Plus that much.
Oh, man.
You
People
actually,
read about that all
the
over the
annoying
world.
about Hulu Plus is there's so much stuff you can't get on Hulu Plus. You can get a regular Hulu.
Right. That's the annoying part.
So you have to have 2 Hulu accounts, one without Hulu Plus, so you can watch stuff.
If you can use the same account. If you go through the web interface, you see more than what you can see through Hulu Plus.
Yeah.
It's a crock because
Yes.
it's all based on the content producers saying, no, I don't want that on Hulu Plus. Oh, but it's okay on the website.
Yeah.
So you can't get Stargate Universe through Hulu Plus, but you can watch it on the web interface.
What?
Yeah.
How blonde.
They don't get it. I mean, the guys who run Hulu get it,
Xeno's great.
right? But it's hard for them to convince their bosses this is the way to go. I mean, it's brilliant when they only have a 30-second commercial because you're not going to get up, go get something, because you know, or you can't pick up your computer if you're watching it on TV. You can't pick up your computer and then have your attention drawn away. You're still going to kind of be stuck with that for that 30 seconds. I watched all of the Andy Barker PI. That was kind of funny. That series didn't last more than a season. Jack of all trades. There's 2 seasons on there you can watch.
I bought the DVDs.
You did?
I believed in that song.
Did you? We watched My Name is Bruce recently. Have you seen that?
Of course.
Okay.
Oh, the Fall of Sam X
Is
is
that
great.
anything like
Bruno
My
was
Name
the
is
Campbell.
Earl?
No,
Bruce
it's all
Campbell.
Bruce Campbell. So
All Bruce Campbell.
all the time, and he directed that.
Bruce Campbell.
Did you see Army of Darkness? Burn Notice.
Evil Dead. Evil
I
Dead 2.
had actually heard of Burn Notice, but
Evil
Okay.
Dead. Evil Dead 2.
My name is
Never
Bruce
heard of
Campbell.
He was in.
You need to just go- yeah.
He
You
was
need to
in
go
the
to
Spider-Man
Bruce.
movies.
no, I don't.
You need to.
You just.
I don't watch movies, so I don't
Evil
really
Dead
care.
2 is a
Cultural
world movie.
How creative was
It's a
that?
calling.
The cultural.
The last movie made that I actually am willing to watch was made about 77.
Please let it be something
Flash
good.
Gordon.
What is it?
When Eagles Dare,
Ah.
or Where Eagles Dare. Guns
That's
for
gotta be the
Vampire.
Iger sanction.
Iger
Oh,
Sanction,
Lord,
yeah.
yeah.
I watched that a couple times.
He was in Bubba Hotep. He
Yes.
played Elvis.
Oh my.
I
It
don't
was a
think
great
they're
movie.
anymore, except they're a bunch of
Yeah,
cubes,
I remember
can't
this.
stand. But
Oh.
Burn Notice is something that was advertised, so I've actually heard of it.
Yeah, he plays an ex FBI
Ex-Navy SEAL.
named ex Navy.
Which is great because they did a special episode. They had a special
Oh, and he's gonna be
movie
in
that
Cars
they canceled
2.
it. Sweet. Yeah, Hulu said that, it'd be available till 5/24. Then it's not. Oh yeah, and he's in Congo for like 2 minutes. Yes. Briscoe County. Excellent show.
It's a great show. I love that show.
Watch Hunt for Red October.
Okay, I don't have much else unless anybody wants to keep talking about stuff.
Can we go back to the macrovision?
Sure.
Because you know how like, you have to put, if you have your VCR and your DVD player hooked up to your TV, and maybe one's hooked up to the other, and you have to have them in a certain sequence. for it
You
to
don't
work.
pass. You don't do a pass through because then you couldn't see the DVDs would do all the flip through the if it was passed through the VCR.
Wasn't it the VCR that was putting some macrovision stuff?
They tried to make it look really dark and stuff like that. Like certain movies like Back to School and watch one on your DVR.
Yeah.
VCR and stuff with it. It would just make stuff out.
I don't think that many tapes had macrovision on it.
You get a DVD drive. Computers.
Yeah, that's right.
I think once it got out that
I never got the
What's that?
CSS stuff.
Oh.
I mean,
Suppose I can go get it.
so I mean, if you have, we've gone through, just this year, we've gone through 4 VCR and DVD players, because my son gets.
wow, what are you
into-
watching?
Solid state, buddy.
Thomas the Train.
Oh, that'll do it.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I would recommend going to a DVD player. We went through DVD players too. Went through 2 of those this year.
So
3 of
I was
them.
trying to figure that out for a friend of mine. You know, you go out and you buy a disc, like you know he has girls, so it's you know Tinkerbell. First thing you do is you copy the disc and then you give them the copy. Never give them the original because it's just going to be fingerprints and scratches and stuff like that. So, are they still VHS? Or they?
Some of them are, yeah.
Okay, that must be
The VHS ones last more than
Is that
the
with
DVD ones.
Ringo Starr? VHS ones.
No, I don't know if Ringo Starr's in there.
Thomas the Tank Engine?
Oh,
No, it
what's
was
Thomas the Train.
Star then.
Thomas the Train thing. Yeah.
George Carlin.
It was.
Oh,
It was
yeah.
first it was Ringo, then George Carlin.
Right.
At first, I didn't realize that until.
Sorry,
I don't really.
I'm
pay
dating
attention to
myself
Because I
there.
was looking
Oh,
at
you
Netflix,
Not like I watched it when I was a
George
kid, but
Carlin flicks.
I somehow
And
knew.
then Thomas the Tank Engine popped in my.
I have like 11 nieces and nephews and 5 great nieces and nephews. So
Yeah, you can look by for people, and yeah, they'll pull up Thomas the Tank
drives and
Yeah.
stream it.
Because he was
Something
the
like
one
Myth
person
is like what I'd like to do, is copy
During
all the
that
hard
time?
drive.
Yeah.
Told
But
him the years that he was
I
doing
thought
it.
there's
I'm like,
copy protection
wait a
on
minute,
it.
what?
There is.
So me and my
you
friend
can
just
use
had
Even
a
programs.
analog copy protection.
it was George
There's
What's that, Dave?
software you gotta use to take out the macrovision
Yeah.
protection.
I'm a big
There's
fan of
VHS.
some programs that don't even
You'll hear
recognize
just him doing.
the encryption that's
voices.
there. Don't even recognize it, skip right over it and just copy the
His
file
voice
out.
is the
Or you
only
can use
voice
programs
that
like if
is-
you have a Windows box, you can use like Slice Off.
Thank you.
Slice Off will remove the encryption and allow you to copy the files directly off the DVD. Or you can
Well,
use.
yeah, we're talking about, okay, you're talking about DVDs. I'm talking
Yeah,
about
handwritten.
VHS tapes.
VHS. Depends on the quality of the recorder and stuff.
You also run into a problem. I used to fix VCRs and TVs and stuff.
Uh-huh.
You run into a problem when you try and copy off of a VCR onto another medium, because if it comes out of the VCR, it is a perfect crystal clear signal on channel 3 or channel 4. And when it goes into another device, those devices are designed to screw up channel 3, channel 4. That's
So
why you get like
macrovision
the blue
protects-
screens, you get like the wavy lines through it, you get, the sound isn't right, it goes in and out.
That's how they tried to patch the analog hole.
That's how they
So
try
it's
to
re-
fix it. It's designed, like in the hardware, to screw that up. You've gotta get like a signal amplifier to overpower that. You can buy those. They're like 30 or 40 bucks usually. I mean, some of the lower class ones you can get for $10. Try Radio Shack.
I've got one that is
You gotta get an amplifier, 'cause you
just
gotta
for
boost the signal.
coax.
Blow it out.
So
But that's all the coax output. What of just the straight RCA stuff?
That's built in there. It's built in there, and it's not on the device going out. It's on the device coming in.
Huh.
Even on like those what are they? It's not Picasa, but the like video cables you plug in. It plugs into the USB drive on your computer. And you can
Oh
cut the stuff.
yeah.
If it's an actual movie, it comes out perfectly, and it has like a signal that goes with it, and it cracks that and just destroys the
Huh.
signal. It screws it all up, and it's built into the.
So in other words, it's like a carrier wave
Yeah,
of death.
literally there is, like in the signal coming out, because it's so perfect on that channel 3 or channel 4 that it triggers the hardware to switch over.
I wonder if that would be the same for like the capture cards in the computer though.
Yeah. I don't know. It
Huh.
probably is. But I know that if you get a signal amplifier, you can blow it away, because it'll overpower it. It's just a regular signal amplifier.
Saved him from
We
his
used to copy
kids.
them all the time, right? Yeah.
you get them at Radio Shack.
Yeah, you can buy them at Radio Shack.
I
Sometimes
got
you can
one.
get them at True Value on sale.
I got one I don't need anymore, Rob, if you want. I'll sell it at half price, whatever we're selling it for at Radio Shack. It's a 4-port.
Is that a splitter or a distribution amplifier? Oh, it's like the ones that Cox usually installs, those
Yeah.
big block things.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
back in the old days when their signal wasn't strong enough to go through multiple splitters.
I think I have an input and an output.
Very well. I don't have a problem now. I've got 3.
Yeah, I think I have that Radio Shack, the silver one with the cord you plug in.
So
And
I got no problem anymore.
You just have to
Does
overpower the
anybody
signal.
need-
Ago, that was the case, and this is a power one. I forget what the DVD is, but it's.
what was that?
You actually, it's
Said
two,
analog
it's a-
capture board.
It's got a,
Analog capture drive.
you can set.
Well, if I have a
with
mid,
slider
if I
bar,
have
you
a
can set
hockey
how much
card, I
you
don't think I need that.
how much
No, I have one that I
you
don't
put in the
use.
system, so you can-
Actually, I have used it since I bought it
Yeah.
6 years ago.
Beer.
That's what sounds good to me.
Beer and burgers.
The beer.
Okay, thanks everyone.
Thank you. Thanks. Who's talking next month?
Adam and Craig, and they're going to talk about high availability
Load balances.
and load balancing.